delicious.
It does.
I'm going to put the tomatoes in it, and I'd love you to grab the nuts out of the oven. It would be good.
These look great, Zoe. And the smell of nuts. I could just sprinkle some salt on here, grab myself a can of beer, and I'd be a happy boy. There we go, that's hot.
The healthy nuts. Oh, ow. Actually, that was not a good idea. Don't laugh at me.
Oh, I'm not
mean.
It wasn't that hot on that, so through.
All the way through.
There we go.
And then turn the heat off, and we are literally just folding this through.
I've got my fork and spoon ready to try that.
Let's have a little try.
I mean, this is great on its own, Zoe, but if you grilled a piece of fish or maybe some barbecue chicken or something like that, this would be a great thing to go with it, wouldn't it?
Look, it's a really healthy, delicious dish. Yeah, sure, you can add the protein to it, but I've got to say, it's a dish that I am really just happy eating on its own.
Well, we'll see what it's like. It's all right to talk about it, but it all comes down to the tasting, doesn't it? There we go, a little bit of that. It smells really... I love the tomato in there.
Yum.
Zoe, that's really good. It's got that texture to it, that little crunch to it. I like that with food. It's not soft like rice.
The nice thing is you've got that combination of the nuts, which have that lovely crunch to it, and you've also got that wild rice. You know what? It's a dish that I could eat all the time. It's healthy. It ticks all the boxes. I'm really interested to try your congee, because I've got to say I do like congee. I haven't had one with spare ribs in it before, the beef ribs, so we'll see what happens.
Let's just hope I don't fill myself up on this first. Now, Zoe, you can see my rice has been soaking for about an hour, and it becomes nice and sort of white and milky. Now, you don't have to soak it if you don't want to, but I reckon it becomes more luscious and smooth and velvety if you do. Now, I've got my stock boiling away here, and it's been going for about an hour and a half or so, and it's nice and sort of... You can get the smell of that broth.
It's beautiful.
It's like Nana's kitchen, isn't it?
You know what? Stock is so good for you. Often all the enzymes and everything are in the bones, so it's a really good, healthy way to get a good broth.
Now, into the pot it goes. Now, I've turned that onto a nice sort of high heat. What I'm going to do is get that simmering away. Now, with my stock here, I'm just going to add about, let's say, 5 cups of stock, and I'll get that simmering away. And with this stock here, as this rice cooks, I'll just keep adding a little bit more stock as I go, as it starts to cook.
It's sort of like a risotto.
It is. But what you're trying to do with the rice is actually get it to split open, and all the starch comes out of the rice, and it becomes like a sort of like a gluey sort of soup. Now, the trick is to keep stirring it, and that helps to keep it nice and golden, but it also stops it from sticking it to the bottom. This will take about an hour to an hour and a half. You'll see the rice will swell up, and it'll become like a white paste, but it'll be delicious. This won't be long. Well, about an hour or so, and we'll be eating some lovely congee. Nowadays, all we think about is being energy conscious. This is how I do it. All I need to do is open this up here, think about all the energy I'm saving, grab out a cold beer and close it up. That'll allow me to drink more beer more often and save on power. Cheers. Look at that, Zoe, simmering away. It's got that real sort of porridge consistency.
It really looks like porridge.
There we go. I'll put a bit of salt in it.
And is this something that you'd have for breakfast?
I would have this as a late night snack. You know, I'd have it ready and just heat it up again. Or this is usually what I would go to a Chinese restaurant late at night. I'd have some of this with maybe some barbecue pork or some duck on it or something like that. But they also make a deep-fried sausage or a deep-fried donut, which they cut and put on their congee as well.
Ah, interesting.
Now, if you can pass me that bowl in there, I'll put some salt in there already. What I'm going to do is just with this ladle, I'm going to put some congee. Now, on its own like this, it's got a lovely beef flavour, but it is still quite bland. This is the bit where we've got to sort of add some other flavour to it and get it really tasty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that there. Zoe, if you can cut up some of that spring onion, the coriander and the chilli, I'll get some of this beef rib out here, because this is the hero. I mean, it's got to have plenty of beef in it. Now, you can get it with, you know, Peking duck on top of it, you know, any sort of ingredient on top of it as you want.
That looks really well cooked.
But for me, something like this, nice bit of beef rib.
That smells delicious.
It does smell delicious. And what I'll do is I'll just cut it up. It's really hot with a little bit of fat in there, because the fat's the flavour. It is part of the beef, and you can see it, the meat just falls off the bone. It is very hot, so you want to be careful. And I'll just chop it up like this. There we go. Nice sharp knife. And then maybe a bit of carrot in there. Maybe the aficionados may not like the carrot in there, but I'll sort of put it on top.
The token vegetable.
There we go. A little bit of vegetable on there. And look at that. And what you do is sort of mix it all around, and the beef and the shallots and the spring onions and the coriander and the chilli, that just seasons it up. We'll put a little bit there, a little bit of coriander on this side here, some deep fried shallots because we've got something deep fried all around it like that, and some of the chili to give it a bit of heat, and of course, plenty of soy sauce, which is the Chinaman's way of seasoning things up nicely. Look at that, drizzle that on there. Looks good, doesn't it?
It looks beautiful in its presentation. I'm really interested to try it.
There we go. I'm going to have a little piece there.
I'm going to get a little bit of this.
Some meat and some congee, nice and thick.
Oh, okay. It really does have a very strong texture of porridge, but it's a really nice flavour. The beef in it was beautiful. I got a little bit of the coriander and the chilli in there as well. You know what? I mean, I could easily have this for breakfast.
There's enough here to actually fill up your belly. You're not going to be hungry for a while. You've got enough energy to get through the rest of the day if you have it for breakfast, and enough energy to get you through the night.
You know what? The only thing that would make this better is a Zoe dessert.
I think so.